welcome to episode 79 of the Broadway Shuffle. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we are certainly glad you are here, and thank you for tuning in. We've got Conrad and Zyler tonight, and we want to shout out our fourth member, Clayton Anderson, as he is getting married this weekend. So, Clay, we miss you, but congratulations. It's going to be a great 10 years, dude. We're looking forward to that very long marriage. So, no, in all seriousness, it's going to be a lot of fun for Clay.
Any chance he's listening to this episode, y'all think?
I would highly doubt Clayton will not be listening to this episode. He's got other things to focus on.
He's 100% going to be listening.
He's
Clayton,
got a lot
to focus on. I have faith.
Clayton's getting married in Santa Fe this week, so that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to get into Texas Tech's Big 12 preseason odds tonight. A lot of interesting odds, and ESPN has come out saying that Tech is going to be preseason 16th. FanDuel has you ranked to win the Big 12 conference. So we're going to get into all of those odds tonight and much more. But first, if this is your first time listening, thank you for tuning in, whether on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Conrad, dude, you've been our hype man now for 9 months, and here we go. It's May, and FanDuel releases odds. Texas Tech, ESPN releases odds, and you're in the top 20. What's your overreaction level? What's your level of excitement here in May? You're not even, a quarter, 4 months left until the season, and I'm already freaking out about August 31st.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that. I mean, I don't know, maybe 2008, but that's the last time that the hype was this. Maybe, I mean, it's definitely higher now because there's more money. But I think for me, I'm going to enjoy it, right? Like you never know. We don't know if this will ever happen again, right? Is this the last time that the hype is as high as it is in terms of, what we believe we can do with everything that's gone on these last, 3 years under Coach McGuire? It's like, well, this is kind of the moment. Like, it's all been kind of building to this. Like, this is the opportunity. This is the year. This is the opportunity that we've been dreaming about for a long time. Y'all longer than me because you've been Tech fans longer than me. But I do think that this has got to be the year that all the boosters, they put their chips in the middle of the table and they went all in. And so I think Tech fans should definitely enjoy this, be extremely optimistic, because I just don't know that you're ever going to get an opportunity like this again. And that's kind of sad to say, but I think with where we've been and where we're going to, I think that's just kind of the reality. I hope it's more regular, but then again, to this point in our history, this is, in my opinion, with the money spent, the biggest football season in Texas Tech football history.
Yeah, Brennan, do you think for this year's team, and I argued about this, and I think this will be an interesting question for the listeners as well. Do you think it's better to come into this season with a lot of expectations? Like, do you want to be ranked 14th or 16th or whatever ESPN had you ranked, or do you want to be outside the top 25? Kind of give the team some motivation, say, nobody believes in you guys, blah, 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 blah. Or is it good to have the hype, have the expectations coming in? What would you prefer for this season?
So, like, the first thing that comes to mind for me is like BYU last year, right? Like, no one was really talking about them. They, have a great start to the year. They get Big 12 playoff consideration, Big 12 championship hype. And it's kind of a fun story, and it's like there's no pressure on them. They end up not going. They end up going 11-2 and have a great year, win the Alamo Bowl. But there wasn't like this expectation that BYU was going to be that. I think for Texas Tech, it's like, dude, everyone's talking about you. I read an ESPN top 100 transfer portal ranking today on from Max Olson, and they had like 5 of our transfers in the top 35. And it's Big 12 title or bust. It's Joey McGuire, all the chips are in. Like, we've heard it now pretty much since December. And I think that's a little nerve-wracking. I would rather be BYU. I would rather have the BYU situation, I think, than like all eyes are going to be on Tech. And you've brought this upon yourself. Like, you've brought in the dudes, you've brought in the new coaches, new offensive coordinators in Leftwich and Wood, and you're going to have eyeballs on you. And I think that's a little nervous, because if you have another Wyoming, if you have another Abilene Christian, it's going to feel worse, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Conrad, what do you think?
Yeah, it will. I like all eyes on us. I think
you want it. You want the light.
I want the light. I want the spotlight. I want all eyes on Lubbock. I want all eyes on Texas Tech. And the reason is, I think Texas Tech, if you just look historically, has been disrespected. by people in Texas, by people outside of Texas. Like that's just this school or that school, or this is all they do there, or this is all all they can do, or they're irrelevant or whatnot. And I think what we've shown is not only by the play on the field the past few years and how we've improved, but also the investment that we have. I mean, you've got the best football facility in the country. I mean, I don't think it's close. I don't know if you guys have watched that YouTube video that came out that showed all the different areas. Obviously, I know y'all have been in it. I'm not as fortunate. I have not been in it, but all that money poured in, all the transfers that are coming in, all the returning players that you have, I want the lights on. I want the spotlight on us, because I think when that happens, so much of how you play is all about confidence, right? And that's this year. It's like, hey, play who you are, play like who you are, right? It's getting all these guys to gel. It's getting all these guys to play together. I want the spotlight. I want the attention. It's a lot more fun that way, in my opinion. And but you also fall a lot harder if you don't succeed as well.
Hey, are we live right now? I think we're live on YouTube. You guys,
Yeah, I thought we got the studio chat.
Are we live on YouTube?
I think we're live.
No, we're not.
I think we are. Could you
Oh yeah,
check
we're
if
live.
We
We're
are live.
Yeah,
We're definitely live. This is fantastic.
We're gonna keep ripping it.
We're gonna keep ripping
Okay,
it. Then
all right.
welcome to the show. Okay,
I did not mean for us to go live.
I see this chat. I'm like, who's commenting right now? This is great. Okay, so
Okay,
Conrad,
all
to
right,
your,
we're here.
but,
We're here.
But okay,
Yeah.
but to your point, and Z, I want to get
Brennan,
your thoughts on. But like,
I actually, so here's the thing that I would say about the BYU situation, though. If they would have had more hype coming into the year, would we have respected them more nationally? Like you think about,
That's a good question.
If that SMU game happens at the end of November, they are going into a top 10 or a top 15 road matchup. They're both ranked in the top 20, and that game means a lot more. That game happens in early September, and nobody cares about it. It was a blip on the radar. You remember we were all kind of making fun of SMU for losing to BYU. And it just didn't.
And that's a great point. But I mean, I think to Conrad's point, I didn't get to not rebuke, but like, because I saw this comment come through, and I hope everyone's having a great time joining us live. But I think that I do think that the disrespect, Conrad, I would say, like, you haven't earned respect. Like yeah, we get made fun of as a university, and the money might have brought respect to Texas Tech this year, but you have not earned the respect of people in Texas, of your conference foes, of any of that. So it is a little different.
No. I'm not saying so. I'm not necessarily talking about football entirely. I'm talking about the university and how people talk. Well, if you can't get in anywhere, you go to Texas Tech. Like, I'm talking about all that, all that slander. You're just this or you're just that. That's more of what I was talking about there. Football, I mean, we have not earned it, right? Like, I don't disagree at all. We got to go earn it, but I think we're definitely on the right track to do that.
Well, see, so what do you think? I mean, is it the pressure? Where are you at with? Because and to that point, like, you did you brought this upon yourself in a good way. I mean, this is what you wanted. Yeah.
You don't really get to decide what happens here, because you made all those decisions back in December and January and February when you decided to go out and attack the portal the way that you did. I was initially kind of on your side, saying, let's be the underdogs. Let's fight and say nobody respects us, nobody believes in us. I had somebody convince me otherwise. They're like, listen, if you really want to shoot for the college football playoff, you want hype on you initially. Just people will remember that. They will see your name, the little 16 next to your name when you're playing a game. They'll take note of those things. And the BYU example was the example brought up. And truly, it's just like, if you have more hype at the beginning of the season, people respect your wins a lot more, and they think you're a better team. Now, I'm the biggest hater of the AP poll. I think it's useless. It's a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about, that don't have any reason to be voting on the sport.
Tell us how you really feel.
No. True. I mean, that is how I really feel. We all know how the AP poll. It's like 150 journalists who don't watch all the games. There's that guy that does the account that's like AP poll oddities, and it'll be, teams will lose a game and they'll move up 15 spots in some guy's poll, and it's like, what was going on here? But yeah, I think ultimately it helps you.
What do you think about FanDuel's odds of picking you to win the conference like that? Not just top 16, not top 20, because if you look at the other teams in the ESPN, Z, you've got BYU at 10th, so that their 11-win season last year has put them in terms of ESPN. Again, it's still early, it's May, but in the top 10. Arizona State, who went to the playoff, is 12th.
Yeah.
Iowa State, who was in the conference championship, is 14th, and Kansas State is 18. So you're looking at, you're right there. Like, that's 5 Big 12 teams in the top 20. Do you think that?
Like, that's crazy. And
that's a little wild to me.
That would be great for you in the conference to think.
Yep.
Even if those teams, because we look at Arizona State last year, they finished 35th in SP Plus, 5th in the Big 12, but they won the conference and they pushed Texas to the limit in the playoff game. And that was a huge lift for what people thought of Arizona State. Even though their analytic rating didn't show them as some sort of top flight team, having people think that you are that elevates everyone's perception of you and how good your wins are and how good your losses are. Now, the computer rankings are going to be the same regardless of what happens with the AP poll.
So what do you like the computer? You're an analytical guy. So what is a computer saying? I don't trust the eye test voters.
Yeah, exactly. It's we all know this intuitively. Like, you watched Tech last year. Did Tech seem or play to you like an 8-win team?
No.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the computers tell you that too. The second win.
Week 1 told me that.
Exactly. And so same thing with Iowa State. That was not a 10-win team per the numbers. And so I think that stuff's helpful looking forward. Now, at the end of the day, it's still about winning the game. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you win 2-0 or you win 49-48. Like, the win ultimately is all that matters. Nobody looks back and awards a championship for being first in the conference in analytical ranking. You don't get to hang that banner. Nobody goes to that parade. But as far as being predictive and helpful looking forward, that's where I think they have a ton of value.
Sure.
And so that's why Arizona State, they bring everybody back, but that was a team that played like the 5th best team in the conference last year. Everybody's like, they should be the best team going forward. It's like, oh, well, I don't know. They weren't the best team last year.
So, yeah. And Shane Hadaway just comments, we're winning the conference, drink the Kool-Aid. So, I mean, it's obviously working for fans across, already. Yeah. Like, we're in May and it's being chugged in May. So, but I don't know. Like, maybe it's Conrad, to your point, like, Texas Tech has always been disrespected, but it's always been heartbreaking. Like, we've gone to plenty of games the last 4 or 5 years where it's like, we need to win. The Colorado game, some OU and Texas games where you've had chances. Yeah. You rarely come through in these moments. And I think maybe I'm just like burned by the fact that we're going to get to the Oklahoma State game October 25th or the BYU game November 8th. And like, you need the win and you're going to find a way to not. Maybe you have an injury. Maybe Barron gets hurt or whatever it is. It's just like, I've just got to see it. Like, I want to get excited. We talked about it last year. Yeah. It was like, who's this year's TCU? And Texas Tech was being talked about like that. And, we went 6-3 in conference. So I don't know. I just, there's too much baggage there for me to get bought in, even when it's exciting. Because you have not been ranked, I might be wrong, but I think I'm right, in the top 20 since 2008 preseason.
You haven't finished in the you have never been ranked in the college football poll.
In the CFP. Yeah,
I think you're one of 4 Power 4 schools that have not been ranked. I think Maryland, and Rutgers might be that. That might be the list.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I know you brought in the guys, but and it's great. Ultimately, it's good for your program. I was walking through the Jones today. I'm in Lubbock. I'm staying at a friend's house. Shout out to the Hadaways for letting me crash. But it's like I was walking through the Jones. I'm sitting there. I'm looking at the south end zone. I'm like, you've invested so much into this. You've given so much, and people are noticing you. Josh Pate's talking about. Did y'all see that Josh Pate interview? And he's with
Joey.
No. It was on his podcast. This was a couple weeks after he had gone to Joey, and he releases this video, and he says, "I'm just saying this. I don't know what it'll mean." And he goes, "I walked through Lubbock, and you could have told me I was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You could have told me I was in Austin. You could have told me I was in Georgia. Those are the dudes in that building." And it's like, when's the last time that was ever said about Texas Tech?
It's never been said.
It's never been said.
Yep. Yeah. I just don't. It's hard. Brennan, you mentioned all the trauma and the heartbreak and all the, all the letdowns, and they're there. They're real. Like, I'm not going to pretend they're not. But it's almost hard for me to compare the era of college football that we're in now to any of those days.
That's fair.
Like, it's just so.
It's
different. Just so different. Like, you just have to. You don't throw everything away, right? Like, you don't discount your whole history before NIL, but it really is kind of like a, people talk about, before and after COVID. Like, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, it's before NIL and after NIL. Like, it's how does this work out? I mean, You saw what NIL did to Nick Saban. Nick Saban didn't want to deal with it anymore, and he didn't want to play. Now he's also old, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about Nick because he's obviously the greatest college football coach of all time. But there is a reality to pre-NIL, post-NIL, and what that means for Texas Tech. And Texas Tech has been the school that's taken advantage of it. I mean, President Skubanek came in on the show and he said, we don't want to just survive. We want to thrive in this new era of NIL. And Texas Tech has done that better than anyone, right? Like anyone. And it shows now that we're doing legally what everyone else did before it was legal. And so you're also trying to work that out. But at the same time, I don't know that I buy the argument, well, we have too much heartbreak to get excited because you've never had this much talent probably on a roster in Texas Tech football history.
Yeah. So I guess I have 3 questions that I want to talk about before we get into Nick Saban, because Cody Campbell's on that commission now, and I think that's worth talking about. You have an alumni or an alumnus that's chairing a commission with the greatest football coach of all time. That's a huge step for that guy. But Jack actually brought up an interesting question in the chat. Which team do you think is more likely to win a Big 12 championship, the Tech basketball team or the Tech football team this year? I think that's an easy basketball.
I would agree that's basketball. I mean, especially with Toppin coming back and that as well. But I mean, maybe it's easier in football because you got 12 games, you got 9. Basketball, you've got to go what?
I think you get flukier kind of in football, maybe. I don't know.
Like basketball, you've got to go.
You've got more games to lose. You can win. You can lose more games in basketball.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming Jack's talking regular season championship. Yeah. So Houston went what? They went 19-1 this year in the conference.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
Like you're not going 19-1. So
no, you're not.
It might be flukier, Z, to your point, in football.
Yeah, it's. Oh man. Okay, so then the other question, Conrad brought up a great point that I wanted to at least contest. Do you think this is the most talented Tech team on paper that we've ever assembled? I'm talking before the season starts, not what ended up happening, but just thinking in the preseason, it would be this team or either the 2008 or 2009 team in my mind.
Well, it has to be, right? Because even the 2008 team, I mean, you had a first-round draft pick in Crabtree, you had a solid offensive line, but that was about. I mean, Graham Harrell was phenomenal, but he wasn't a first-round pick, right? He wasn't a draft. And so it's like you're looking at dudes like David Bailey could be a first-round pick. Lee Hunter could be a top 64 pick. Like you're talking about guys that are nationally looked at to go to the NFL. We have not had that before.
Ever. You're looking. You'll probably have the most. Well, right now you're projected to have the most players drafted. If you're in the chat, Andrew, you got to cut it out, man. You're distracting me. But I don't know. I think on paper, when I look at it, obviously I didn't, I wasn't writing up previews when I was 10 years old on the Tech football team.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were, by the way.
I think you were born writing.
That would not
shock
me if we have a 2008 Texas Tech preview from Zyler somewhere in the Buchanan house.
I used to draw up plays. I do remember drawing that and thinking, why do they not just run this play? This looks like it would work. Nobody ever took
Were you running Spider Y Banana? Or what were you running?
Banana.
Yeah,
I can see Zyler sitting there in second grade saying, Texas Tech football going to win it all this year. And Miss Smith, Texas Tech football going to win it all.
Bro, are you Forrest Gump? Like,
is that Forrest?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Homeschooling? What are we doing here, Conrad?
Are you anti-homeschooling, Zyler?
No. I'm very pro homeschooling.
Okay.
He turned out okay. Look, he made it to this podcast. He
did.
I reached literally the pinnacle of any homeschooling education. It's podcasting. That's where it is.
There you go. Your parents are proud. Okay, so continue.
There. Anyway, I for my money, I think it's the most talented team in the last 10 years. I think pretty easily. I think the questions start to arise in 2008, 2009, and I think we'll probably have some people that will have some things to say about that. But defensively, I think it's one of the best units you'll have ever trotted out there.
Well, it's probably the best unit in the conference.
Oh, absolutely.
On paper, it's the best unit in the conference.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. This defense was so bad last year. So
no one's back.
Yeah, but you had 4 defensive line starters. You had a quarterback starter and a safety starter.
Bye-bye.
But you return. It's not like the whole unit's gone.
No, that's fair.
I mean,
you're gonna.
You've got the guys on the secondary. Like you've got Mo Horn coming back. You've got Brendan Jordan coming back. You've got Chapman coming back. He's hurt. I don't know how much time he'll miss. I'm not sure.
Party's coming back.
the front you have a whole new starting front seven with the exception of Jacob Rodriguez, who was
And Ben Roberts.
and Ben Roberts. But hopefully Ben will be improved this year. Last year obviously was not his best year, but I think this has to be. You replaced all the people you wanted to replace.
But I mean, you remember injuries happen. Like you didn't bring in 25 new defensive players. You still have a lot of pieces on that team that was not very good defensively last year.
Sure. Yeah, but this is the best part of the offseason, Zyler. I don't have to think about injuries in May.
Yeah, I know. And you were fortunate, as far as we're aware, you don't have anybody that's going to be out for the season that suffered an injury in the spring. That's something that not every team, I'm looking through some of that stuff. Like Baylor already lost a guy. Baylor lost a guy to a JUCO ruling. One of their starting receivers just got announced that he's going to be ineligible for the season, which, man, it's a bummer. But just
what do you do?
It's a weird ruling. He was a JUCO player, so he thought he got a year back, and the NCAA told him he got a year back, and then they decided, actually, wait, no, you don't get a year back. It's kind of messed up. But
the NCAA doing something like that to a kid, they would never do that.
So, okay, but Conrad, you brought up something interesting with Saban. So Cody Campbell leads and is now going to lead a presidential commission to help fix college sports. That news was interesting to me. What are your initial reactions to that? Do you think it's a good thing, bad thing? What are your expectations? I don't see any way that it's a bad thing, or at least hope not. But yeah, kind of your thoughts on that.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of a task force put together to bring up ideas to solve these issues that are pretty prevalent. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, well,
commission task force. I'm not really.
Yeah, the commission.
It's like Space Force, but for football.
They're going to and they're going to make a show about it. It's going to be awesome.
I was asked to be on it as I was asked to be on it as well, and I turned it down. I just don't have the time on my hands right now. But I think it'd be a great thing. I think it's interesting, obviously, having someone. And I don't want to put words in Nick's mouth, but I don't think he's the biggest fan of NIL in this new era of college football. And someone who, in Cody's case, and I don't know. Cody and Matador Club have obviously played a big part in Texas Tech's rise. And so it seems as if maybe he's on the other side where he's like, no, this can be a really good thing because it has been for us so far, at least in the offseason and in the headlines. And so I think that would be really interesting to be with those two guys in a room with whoever else is on there talking about these issues, because I think there may be some opposing viewpoints in that room, which would be fascinating to see. But I don't know. I've never been in that room. Yeah. So I told him no.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if anything actually comes of it and which kind of side. I was listening to a Split Zone Duo episode today, and they were talking with the Extra Points guy. His name escapes me, but they were talking about kind of which side, like how much are they actually going to do? Like if this is going to be, hey, we get input from Tommy Tuberville on what we're going to do here, that's kind of my opinion too. If you do that route, I have almost zero expectation for this to be anything productive. But there are some people in Congress.
Could you imagine Cody Campbell and Tommy Tuberville in a room together?
Yes, I can.
Well, yeah, it might happen.
It might happen.
I know that would be. How funny would that be?
It would not be funny.
I guess because, this gets announced, right? Like you hear Nick Saban first, and then a big political or a big donor in college football, and we all kind of speculate, oh, this is Cody, and then it turns out it is. But I was reading an article from the NCAA president talking about this, and he was like, I think it'd be great to have a commission. Like this isn't a thing yet. It got announced, but there's still so much that would have to happen to like actually have a commission where Cody and Nick are making decisions for college football. And anytime you get Congress involved, anytime you get the NCAA commission, like two things I don't trust in the world is the NCAA and Congress. So like if those things are required to get something done productively, I'm going to have a really hard time thinking that's going to happen. Trump can say what he wants. He can meet with Nick and he can, say we're going to do this. And I think Nick Saban would be a great guy to have if this actually happens. But I just really have a hard time, visualizing this becoming a reality.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like where's the authority? Like, what are they just going to offer up some recommendations and hope for the best? I think the thing that.
Or sorry, Z, to your point, Leah just says, as a topic for the future, can you find out what authority Cody's task force will have? Yeah. So it's like what what is Cody going to be doing? Is he going to be, and Nick, are they going to be saying, hey, you can't pay a player more than what I paid players at Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Like,
And so the thing that Cody's written about, so you can read his stuff at the Federalist if you want, big takeaways, and the things that the NCAA would want is they want to be under the antitrust exemption rules, where that's the big thing that you hear about the NCAA all the time is they're always getting sued on the rulings that they make. And if you get under that antitrust exemption, they'll actually have authority to enforce a lot of the stuff that they're doing and not just get sued every time that, you deny my waiver to play, I'm going to sue you and make you spend all this money in court. That's one of the big things that Cody's pushing for. The second thing is to pool everybody's media rights together, similar to how the NFL and the NBA and the MLB do, where all of those teams are coming together and presenting their rights to media partners. So that would be 5 conferences, 6 conferences, however that may look, instead of the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 and the ACC all kind of, bickering amongst each other and trying to sell their rights and trying to get TV spots. They would come together and sell as one big package. You get a lot more bargaining power that way. Those are kind of the big 2 things that he's talked about. And then obviously conference reorganization, that's something that he's mentioned, is like get it back to a regional sport. And I think that's something we could all agree with. Now, how do you enforce that? How do you make the SEC and the Big Ten say, hey, listen, you have to share media rights with the American Athletic and the defunct Pac, who all gets included, who gets left behind? That would be a tricky conversation. Those are kind of the big things he's looking at.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just over my head. It's just like, talk to me when it's a thing. I think it's great that Cody's involved, when it happens. But for me, it's just like, I don't want to put any stock into it until things actually start moving. And it's not going to change in the next, this isn't going to change in the next 24 months.
This is going to be a live PGA thing where they say they're going to merge. They're going to say that all these things are going to talk about it. There's going to be so much red tape on it. Nothing's going to happen. I mean, I don't think it would change within 24 months because you have all these media deals that have been signed for, I don't even know how many years, longer than 2 years, right?
Okay. Yeah. I've got a question. Who do you have more trust in? The College Football Task Force or Greg Sankey?
Oh, College Football Task. Well, to execute their job really well,
to execute their job.
Greg Sankey is a merciless terrorist. He is extremely good at what he does, but he is actively making my life worse. So I have to
I love bringing up Greg Sankey just so Zyler can call him a terrorist. I don't care how I bring it up.
He is a stone cold killer, but he's working against me, so I have to try to bring him down.
I can't wait to see Zyler's tone change when we join the SEC in 2030.
That is not happening.
Greg Sankey will be one of my heroes if that happens. But
hey, by the way, shout out to oh my gosh, your Mark for getting an extension. By the way, that just happened recently.
And we'll talk about it tonight. But the expanded playoff stuff we got to talk about eventually, man. What a load of crap. I mean, we don't have to get into it now. But
are you talking about the seeding report, like how they're going to just seed based off? Yeah.
Yeah, where the Big Ten would get 4, the SEC would get 4. It's just
but they seed based off just seeding, right? Like, are you saying that? Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with that.
Not like automatic qualifiers. Yeah.
It's like who wants to go play in a conference championship game if you're already what? Anyway, we can talk about it in a later episode. But yuck,
dude. This is, I don't know. It's like, okay. If you're Texas Tech and you're hearing like all this stuff, like Cody being involved with the president and Nick Saban, like we just talked about the publicity of the preseason ranking. So it's like now you're getting publicity from Cody in politics, in national media, and like I've read an article on Fox News, like Texas Tech Regent is now, like this is now entering into political. This is entering into national media. It's not just sports related now because this is what people talk about. It's involving Congress. Is that good for your school? I think that is. I think it's great to have a name associated with the president of the United States and Nick Saban regarding a commission. That I think is cool, regardless if anything comes of it. So I that's awesome for Texas Tech.
I trust, and it's not just that Cody is a Tech. If Cody was a Stanford alum or whoever it may be, his ideas are significantly better for shaping college football than Nick Saban's. Nick Saban's is, I hate that players are more interested in money, and that's why I'm upset.
Well, what Saban also,
go ahead, Conrad.
What Saban's also upset about is that everybody else can pay players now legally, and he's not the only one that can do it under the table anymore.
Yeah, him and Bill Self are both going to have a tea party about that and whine that they don't get to enjoy these nice recruiting advantages they used to have.
Yeah. And that's what's interesting about Saban too. It's like, he's obviously the greatest, but it's interesting knowing how much he hates this. And I'm not saying doesn't have good points about some things. Sure he does, but I just thought it's interesting that he's now here and doing what he's doing because he obviously isn't a fan of where it's going now.
Yeah, and the other point is, competency in specific areas is really important. Like, for example, Nick Saban can obviously implement a defensive scheme better than just about anybody that I know. But if you ask Nick Saban to, paint a house or something, it's like that's not his area of expertise.
Or do a Verbo commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe he is good. Or Aflac.
Hey, that's not bad. He was good.
I like the Verbo ones.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? It's like, does he actually have any idea on how to save college athletics, or does he just care about Alabama and college football? And I guess the same thing could be said about Cody and Texas Tech, but he's at least presented a comprehensive plan that encompasses college athletics, not just here's why the SEC needs to remain dominant and we shouldn't share anything. Not that Nick said that, but you forget that
that's
college
his
athletics
attitude.
Includes everything else, like all of the Olympic sports. Like if you start gutting all these programs, like your Olympic teams are going to be terrible. And I know not all that many people care about that, but we will in 2020, whatever it is, 2028.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that stuff gone. I don't want to see us lose to Russia and China and stuff like that. And I know that's a whole different conversation, but it needs to be a college athletics conversation, not just here's how we save the SEC.
Well, and the thing about it too is when you consider college athletics, you have to think about every single program. Like you mentioned, is it really good for college students who are playing, on the volleyball team to have to travel from, USC and UCLA to Rutgers?
Yeah.
Like, is that really
How
good
does that
for
make
them?
sense? Yeah.
Like, they're not going to go on to make money, like doing that. Like, I'm not really a professional volleyball expert, but like, that's not good for their like development as student athletes. It's not good for how do you and the cost associated with that? Like, they're gonna obviously most sports lose money, but it's just not like, why would you do that when you could fly right up the coast to, or go to, you've got Oregon State right off the West Coast. Well, you were in the same conference with them. Now you're basically said, forget you guys. We don't care about y'all because it's all about money. But yet you're going to a sport that's costing more money and it's losing your school money to do that. It's all these things that just don't make sense for a money grab, and they don't make sense for the people. I think people often forget about. Like
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's all college football.
And you'd also think parents, like they would want, like if my kid is going from New York to UCLA and I can't go watch their game, but if they were in Providence, Rhode Island, or if they were in, Philadelphia, like I could go. And you could, it's like, you got to think that eventually enough people are going to go like, this just doesn't make sense. You can figure out the money. Like, let's go back to regionalizing this for rivalries, for kids. It's not really going to be about education ever. It really never has been, but at least for continuity within a system, it would make more sense to do that. And I get the power conferences and things too, but at some point it just doesn't make sense. It's not the NFL. Like I saw the NFL schedule just got released, and the Los Angeles Chargers are traveling like 31,000 miles this year for their NFL season. To put that in perspective, the Dallas Cowboys, who are probably the farthest regional from their division, you've got New York, Washington, Philadelphia in their division. It's 19,000 miles, and those are professionals. That's a lot to travel. If you're Rutgers and UCLA and these people, it's 3,500 miles to New York to UCLA.
That's as far as you could fly, pretty much.
And these are pro teams that are paid millions and millions and have private jets and don't have to go to school and are professionals. And that's a lot. That's wild.
They don't take history classes that have
I would argue, Brennan, I'll push. I think you're right that it's never been about the academics. I think it should be. I think it's, every kid thinks that they're going to play professional sports. You're probably not. Like, that's just the reality. Like, you're probably not. I mean, the percentage of people who do is just so low. And if people actually cared about that a little bit more, maybe if the institutions maybe push, but at the same time, the institutions really like this because it brings in money to their school, and you have to factor that in. But I just think maybe they should care about those things a little bit more, because most of their athletes are not going to go be professional players. They're just not, and that's okay.
Well, Nick Saban, I know we're talking a lot about Nick Saban, but this
is a Texas Tech sports podcast.
Yeah, but he touted the fact that a lot of his a lot of his players got degrees. Like when he gave his Hall of Fame, he talked a Hall of Fame speech. He talked a lot about the degrees that these players earned. And Alabama sends more people to the NFL than anybody, and that was still important to him. And I think it is valuable. But I think
it's definitely valuable.
But the reality is that these kids, now that they're being paid to go play sports, are treated and should, in my opinion, should be treated as professionals. It's just a fact. Like if Lee Hunter did not come to Texas Tech to go to his engineering class. He just didn't. And Micah Hudson didn't come to Texas Tech to go be a sport management major, and so it's just like hopefully they go to school and they go to class, but that's not why they're here. And I think that's just the reality of where we're at now. We don't need to pretend anymore.
Yeah. I'm not talking about Lee Hunter. I'm talking about, Susie on the soccer team.
You're talking about
like I'm talking about the overwhelming majority of students that are not going to don't even have a chance to go make millions of dollars. Like if you want to bet your future, I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, but a lot of things got to break right for you to be an NFL player. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like back to Zyler's point, Zyler was talking about how Cody's plan, which is a good plan, is comprehensive and it's talking about all of college sports together. Like you have to consider that, because if you want to break out football and basketball on their own, I guess you can make that argument, but that's not the way it is, and that's never going to happen.
And how do the other sports get funded? And I know it's not. Universities don't do sports in order to make money. That's not why universities exist. And I think that's the problem with the discussion, and we'll get to you. Like 96% of what the NCAA does is a pretty good thing, where it's the kid from small town Texas ends up being a really good wrestler, and he gets to go to Oklahoma State for free, a school he never would have gotten to go to because he's a great wrestler. He gets a degree, he goes and does his thing. Wrestling is a 4-year thing. And that's kind of what Conrad's talking about. And I think that's great. And we lose sight of some of that when college football takes up. I've never watched a wrestling match in my entire life. I've watched thousands of college football games, and that's why they make money.
Yeah. I guess I would sorry, Z, are you done?
No, please go.
No, I guess I would say now, though, with the money, like if I knew I'm an 18-year-old kid and I can go play 4 years of college football and I can earn, maybe I'm not a star because I'm, me. Maybe I can earn $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, whatever it is. Dude, I mean, that's more than my starting salary out of college. It's like, and you go earn that over time. And so like they're coming still for money though now. Like, and if you're talking about a guy that's maybe not
at what, like 40 schools around the country?
Yeah, but you're not like $100,000. I get it sounds like a lot at 18 years old, but you're still gonna go to work after that.
You would know. You've blown the 6 figures. Yeah,
Texas Tech dropped a bag for me to get me.
That was gone in a year.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. But but you think about it though, that's really not like it's money, right? So I'm not trying to say it's not nothing, but that's not getting you very far. Like it's a great start on your retirement savings. Like, yeah, you should if you can get that.
I guarantee none of it has ever gone to retirement.
I would bet a lot of money.
I would
maybe.
I mean, you're right, but at the same time, when you think about it that way, you still got to go work. You still got to get a job after that. You still got to have that skill and that's marketable for someone to pay you so you can buy groceries and pay your mortgage. That's still like that's not that $100,000.
Yeah,
this is a hot take. $100,000 at 18 years old is not life-changing money. Like you put that in the bank or you spend it or whatever.
My life would changed at 18.
My life would change. My life would change for the better with $100K at 18.
3 months, it would have changed.
Exactly. Okay. It's not money that will actually.
Yeah, it's not generational money.
It's not generational wealth. It won't even. You live. Let's say you're 18 years old. You get $100,000. I mean, if you're wise with it, you're probably spending through that by the time you're done with college. Like if you're paying for everything yourself, and so it's like it's a lot of money, but it's also not. Is my point.
I guess
I would be the first patron at Chimmy's to have their exclusive booth that would have like private security, and it would have been such a sick 3 months that I paid for that
at 18 years old.
Yeah. I don't think they would have allowed that, but
they're pretty strict.
The money would have made it worth it. Like I said, it was only in 3 months.
Yeah, you could pay for it. I guess. I get what you guys are saying. You're talking about outside of the stardom, the normal Billy Joel on the bench, 53. I don't know why I brought up
Billy Joel.
I don't know why that name came to me, but Billy Joel playing Piano Man at the end of the bench.
Billy Joel Baxter. Making
no money. And that's like, he needs a better future than any NIL he could get. I get that. Wrestling, baseball, softball. It's just, you'd have to separate it, right? I mean, you would have to go football, basketball.
Yeah.
And like, this is a separate league.
I know we got to wrap up because we'll talk about this all night. You know, I think ultimately to put a bow on it, I think all of this publicity is good. It's a net positive for Tech. I think there's no way you can spin it as a bad thing. It's just going to come down to ultimately the games are going to get played in August, September, October, November, and hopefully into December. Can you deliver on something, or will this just be another offseason title that you've claimed in the last 3 years? That's really where it all boils, because that's what we'll care about at the end of the day is, did you make it to Arlington? Do you get a hang banner? It's not going to matter how you get there. I don't care if your team's really bad. As long as you hang the banner or you get to Arlington, I think I'll be happy.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Hey, we got 3 months to talk about it, and then we got another 4 and 5 to react to it. And I'm thrilled that we have this opportunity to go into a season ranked. It's going to be a ton of fun. But you're right, Z. It's got to happen. Like, this is the year. Like, it's kind of like like we talk about this in golf a lot, Conrad. It's like, this is the year Rory McIlroy finally wins the Masters. We've been saying it for 11 years. It's like, this feels like the year. Like, this is the year you need to win the conference. You've got to go do it. It needs to happen. And it better happen.
It doesn't have to, but like, if you win 10 games this year and you miss the tie, like if you do the BYU season, you lose at Utah and you lose at Arizona State and you go 7-2 and you miss out on a tiebreaker. I know that would be just kind of disappointing. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to say, "Oh, you guys underperformed." You know, your win total is 8.5.
Well, we'll debate that. We'll debate that on a later show. I don't know.
I think I need a trophy. I feel differently. I need a trophy. I need a trophy. I absolutely need a trophy.
Like, so is your expectation that we have to go 8-1?
100%.
Yeah. There's no our win total's 8.5. That would be us winning 11 games.
I don't care what the win total is. I care how my heart feels, and we've spent so much money. The hype is so high. If it does not end in a trophy or at least a title game appearance, I may not make it back on the show after the season.
The first double-digit win season since 2009 would not get you happy?
No.
Wow. I mean, hey,
dude, no, I want a Big 12 championship.
Okay. All right. This is actually, I offer you 10-2 right now, or roll the dice.
Roll the dice, baby. I'm a gambling man.
Word.
Get me to the table. Get me to the table. I'm doubling down when the dealer has a 20. Roll the dice.
Hey, Zyler, can I ask a qualifying question?
Yeah, please.
Does Baron Morton stay healthy the entire season, and I roll the dice?
I can't decide what would be better. Does it change your answer?
Yeah, it changes my answer.
Okay, I'll say yes, he stays healthy.
I'm rolling the dice, baby.
Roll it. Come on.
Oh,
Conrad.
I'm rolling it.
Conrad's the most even-keeled dude. He is calculated. Dude. He doesn't gamble. I don't know how. On that.
I don't know how.
Dude. I just 10-2 is such a good season. You have not sniffed 9 wins in a long time.
We've also never spent $20 million on players either.
Let's do an episode. Maybe we could do it next one, but like let's do worst case scenario for Texas Tech football.
Oh, dude.
And then best case, Florida State. Like, we can go each of us, Florida State 2-10 or 1-11. Each of us can go through what our worst case is. And for Conrad, for example, it could be 10-2. It could be, dude, like, you didn't win the championship. For me, and then
that's definitely not the worst case. That's definitely not the worst case.
It sounds like it is. So, okay. Well, hey, thank you guys for tuning into the show, our live show that we didn't know we were live for. So, but we love it. I see Tim. I see a lot of our, typical and like recurring listeners, and Lee and Tim and whoever Jay is and all these people. So it's great to have you guys here. We're glad we went live. It was fun. And the Hataways as well. So shout out to everyone that listened.
Are they going to say hi?
Oh, yeah. Hey. Come on, I'm staying to my best friend's house. They're gracious to give me a guest room. You guys can come on the Broadway Shuffle. Say hi.
Hi.
What's up, Ray, man?
Okay, well, make
There's
sure to
Holland.
like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode, and we will catch you guys next time on the Broadway Shuffle.
Well, one administrative note. If you're listening this far, you're a dedicated fan. Our episode coming out Monday is TBD. All of us are going to be in New Mexico for a wedding. If we make it back in time, we'll do an episode. If not, we'll catch you guys this time next week. So thanks for tuning in. And Brennan, I'll let you finish it out.
I totally forgot we were all going to be at the wedding. And shout out to Clayton, who's getting married. Clayton and Abby, congrats. We can't wait to celebrate you guys. We're going to have a blast. We'll see you next time on the Broadway Shuffle. Wreck 'em.
Yep. Thanks, Brennan.